Hi, boys and girls. Hello to you again. It's me, Miss Kelly, here with our next story about Jesus. Today, I am going to be using our Read and Learn Bible, and we're going to start talking about some of the jobs that Jesus had. So let's remember, Jesus was a baby born in a manger to Mary and Joseph, and then he was a little kid like you, and then he was a bigger kid, like your older brothers and sisters. And then he grew into a man. And he first learned the same job that his dad had. His dad was a carpenter. Do you remember we talked about that? Joseph made things out of wood. And Jesus learned to be a carpenter. He also learned how to be a teacher. That meant he went to school. He learned the scriptures. He learned what the Jewish Bible said about the prophets and about how to love God. And as he got older, he knew that it was time for him to come into his ministry, to start teaching himself. And so he was baptized. If you remember, we talked about him being baptized by his cousin John. And after baptized, he spent some time in the desert. And then he came back into town and he found people who would be his disciples. That's where we were last week. And we talked about how I'm a disciple and you're a disciple too. A disciple means a follower of a teacher. And in this case, our teacher is Jesus. He teaches us how to love one another and how to love God. Well, now Jesus knew there was a lot of work to be done, which is part of the reason he found some of his early disciples. He knew that there was a lot of work to be done and he needed to get at it. So he had a couple jobs. He was a teacher. He taught people how to love each other, but he was also a healer. Have you heard that before? I hope you heal quickly. Yeah, it's usually when we're sick, right? Or we're hurt, we think of being healed. Well, Jesus was a healer. And some people call the things that he did miracles. He would probably tell you that while it was a miracle, it was also the power of God that lives within him that made him able to do these things. And so people started coming to Jesus when they were sick, when they had rashes, fevers, when they couldn't walk or couldn't see. And so that's what our story is about today. Jesus the healer. This particular story comes from the book of Luke. And I'm going to read the page and I'll show you the picture again, okay? It's not a very long story. It's just the beginning of Jesus being a healer. Jesus the healer from Luke chapter 4, 38 through 44. Jesus was living in the town of Capernaum, near Lake Galilee. One day he went to see a friend. The mother of his friend was sick with a high fever. She felt so bad that she couldn't get out of bed. Have you ever been that sick, boys and girls? Lately, over the last year, we've had maybe some family members who've been that sick, where they just want to rest and catch their breath and take it easy. Yeah, I think we probably have either been there ourselves at some point or we know somebody who's had a fever and couldn't get out of bed. Jesus went up to the woman. He told the fever to go away. The next minute, the woman got out of bed. She felt fine. She was even able to make and serve them a meal. So here is his friend. And there's the friend's mother, and there's Jesus. And he's telling the fever, "Go away, fever." Later in that same day, after the sun had set, people with all kinds of diseases were brought to Jesus. He put his hands on each person. In that second, the person was well again. So this time it wasn't someone with a fever. It was different illnesses and diseases, maybe rashes or hurt arms or broken legs, or they couldn't see, maybe they couldn't hear. And all kinds of people came to see Jesus because people were talking, boys and girls. That's the job of disciples. Once they saw these miracles, these amazing things that Jesus was doing, they wanted to tell everyone. Well, if you had a sick family member and you knew Jesus was right up the road, what would you think to do? And that's exactly what they did. It says the next morning, Jesus got ready to leave the place. Crowds of people came looking for him. They wanted him to stay, but Jesus said he had to go. He said people in other towns need to hear the good news about God's kingdom. That's why I'm here, and that's what I need to do. So here's our picture for that side. You can see Jesus there in the middle, and all of the people. Do you see some of them have crutches, and they're raising their hands? They're just amazed at what Jesus can do. They want him to stay in their town, of course. Fix everything. Fix all the people who are sick, who are broken, who are hurting. And Jesus said, this message is for everybody. Not just this town, but all the other towns too. And I have to go. I have to share it with them. Now, there was some big clue words in here about what's about to happen to Jesus. It says the next morning, crowds of people came looking for him. Boys and girls, this was going to be the rest of Jesus's life. People were going to follow him everywhere. Have you ever been followed around by even one person? Or maybe even just your dog? And you're like, ah! Well, people everywhere wanted to see, wanted to meet, wanted to touch Jesus. And this is just the beginning of some of the amazing things that Jesus did while he was here on earth. We're going to start talking about a lot more of the things that he did while he was a healer and the things he taught when he was a teacher for the next, 10 weeks or so. We are going to learn so much about Jesus that you're going to be amazed and you're going to be so excited to be his disciple and tell others about him. Let's say a quick prayer and then you can get back to school. All right. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you for the snow. Thank you for my warm house. Thank you for my family and for my friends. Thank you for a school where I can learn. Thank you for Jesus. We love you, God. And we all say together, amen. All right. Be good today. In fact, be good until we're together again. Just be good all the time. Okay? Is that possible? All right. Maybe I'm asking a little much there. But be kind to each other. Be good to your teachers. Listen to your moms and dads, your babysitters. All right. Have a great week. I'll see you again soon.